Gentleman yields. I think we've covered everyone. Mr. Ranking Member, you're recognized for a closing statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I'd like to associate myself with Mr. Garcia's statement. I can't believe that we would send somebody or anyone from our country somewhere else and say, well, we cut off all communication. We're a better country than that. And I just thank Mr. Garcia.
Hey folks, welcome back to True Voice. I'm Andrew, your host who loves this country enough to hold it accountable. If you believe in truth, justice, and a government that works for the people, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a single episode. I just watched Representative Bennie Thompson absolutely lay it down on Kristi Noem in this congressional hearing. And honestly, I'm fired up. Let's watch.
For raising that question. Secretary Noem, at the start of this hearing, you stood here and took an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Then you sat down and dodged the truth over and over and over for a little more than 3 hours, so help you God. You repeatedly testified that you and the Department of Homeland Security will follow the Constitution, the laws, and the order of the Supreme Court. Well, the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution says that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And yet, a federal court found that the Department of Homeland Security, under your watch, believes that it has a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without the semblance of due process. So you did not tell the truth to this committee today when you said you would follow the Constitution and comply with due process. You also testified that you follow orders of the Supreme Court of the United States and all courts. But the Supreme Court unanimously directed the government to facilitate the return of Kilmar Garcia to the United States. But you just testified before this committee that Kilmar Garcia will never return to the United States. So you didn't tell the truth to this committee again when you said that you comply with court orders and decisions. You've overseen the deportation of U.S. citizen children and have claimed that their parents chose to take their children with them. But you produced no evidence that the mother, let alone both parents, of those children freely gave consent to have their children deported from the United States. In fact, everyone involved in those cases say that the mothers, in fact, did not want their children, especially their sick American children, deported. In fact, your agency lured families to ICE appointments under false pretenses, lied to them, refused to let them speak with an attorney or children's father, and deported them before a court had time to even hear the case. You've given yourself the unilateral right to deport anyone you deem a threat. You refuse to comply with court orders that try to stop you. That puts all of us at risk. Beyond your false testimony about the administration's deportation policies, you falsely stated that the administration is focused on a full range of DSH's missions. Instead, your budget request appears to reflect a view that DHS's sole purpose is to be a border wall construction agency that deports U.S. citizen children with cancer. Your budget proposed cuts to cybersecurity, emergency preparedness, and aviation security. Even before asking Congress for these budget cuts, you've overseen mass reductions in the workforce at CISA and FEMA. Despite repeated requests from this committee on how many people have been fired or have been bullied into quitting before their tenure, DHS has refused to share that information. So it should worry every American that we do not know how many people are left at FEMA to respond to disasters and how many cyber defenders still work at CISA as China and other adversaries attack our systems every day. And you've made clear in response to my questioning, you have no written plans for FEMA. It is very apparent that also is no plan for CISA, where you are trying to gut the agency's funding and falsely claiming that CISA is a censorship agency. Since CISA never censored anyone, but now we are all paying the price for you buying into a baseless conspiracy theory. Secretary Noem, I'm glad that you finally came to testify before this committee, but I'm disappointed, along with a lot of my Democratic colleagues, that you stood here and took an oath to tell the truth, then repeatedly failed to do so to this committee. Let me just say, if you dance with the devil long enough, he's liable to follow you home. I hope that you will stop dancing around the truth and start telling the truth so this committee can do its work, helping to defend DHS from the attacks you've launched against it. Mr. Chair.
Now, this wasn't some gotcha moment or cheap political theater. This was a patriotic truth teller calling out someone who's been playing fast and loose with our Constitution, our laws, and basic human decency. Representative Thompson reminded Secretary Noem and all of us that taking an oath to tell the truth actually means something. You don't get to sit in front of Congress, raise your hand, swear on the Bible, and then spend hours dodging, deflecting, and flat out misleading. That's not leadership, that's cowardice. Let's talk about due process. The Fifth Amendment isn't optional. Yet under Noem's DHS leadership, people were detained in foreign prisons without so much as a court hearing. That's authoritarianism, not democracy. In the case of Kilmar Garcia, the Supreme Court unanimously ordered his return. Unanimously. But Noem sits there and says he's never coming back. That's not just defiance. That's a complete betrayal of our judicial system. But what really hit me hardest as a father, as a human being, was hearing about the deportation of U.S. citizen children, including sick kids, without their parents' real consent. Luring families to IC appointments under false pretenses? That's cruel. That's inhumane. That's not who we are, or at least it's not who we should be. And let's not forget the gutting of FEMA and CISA, all while fear-mongering about the border. Cybersecurity, emergency response. These are real national security threats. But Noem's budget says, nah, let's focus on deporting cancer patients instead. Disgraceful. Then she claims that CISA, our cyber defense agency, is a censorship agency? Based on what? Internet conspiracies and Twitter noise? That's not how a serious leader talks. That's how you pander to the fringe while our digital infrastructure gets attacked daily by China and other adversaries. Representative Thompson said it best. If you dance with the devil long enough, he'll follow you home. And it's clear, Kristi Noem's been dancing for far too long. If we want a country that lives up to its ideals, that protects its people, honors the law, and tells the damn truth, we cannot stay silent. We've got to speak up, stand strong, and push back against this dangerous mix of lies, cruelty, and corruption. So if you're with me, make your voice heard. Subscribe to True Voice, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share this video with someone who still believes that patriotism means standing up for all Americans, not just the ones who fit a certain narrative. I'm Andrew. Thanks for watching. Keep speaking the truth, keep loving your country, and never, ever stop fighting for what's right.